I don't think there's any question about it. Skip, I was in Miami this past Friday night for the Heat-Memphis game that they ended up pulling out. Memphis offense just nosedived, and that's pretty much what happened. They had absolutely no answer for Zach Randolph, even though I give Chris Bosh a lot of credit because obviously when it comes to mass and girth, he's considerably smaller than Zach Randolph, and Zach throwing that body on him was just a lot to deal with. But after the game, and this is where it all comes into play, when they lost to New Orleans the next night, and you heard Chris Bosh and LeBron James just sound off, and they alluded to a lack of passion in the locker room. You know, if you lose, nobody's upset. If you win, nobody's happy. They won the game on Friday night in Memphis, and it literally appeared as if nobody cared. And that really is alarming. It was just business as usual, and there doesn't seem to be that fire. Now, obviously, I don't think that'll last because as the playoffs draw closer, I think they'll correct it. But it's worth noting that they've been giving up 100 points a game in this 11-game stretch, that they've lost 7 of those 11 games, that the last time they've had a defense this porous where they're giving up 98 points per game on 45% shooting this year, which is their worst numbers since they went 15-67 back in the 2007-2008 season. It's worth noting that this is not what they're accustomed to doing. Even when they've lost, even when they've struggled, historically, religiously, they've defended. But they're not doing that right now. And if they're not defending, then understand the ripple effect that has. You know LeBron James and what he could do. You know Dwayne Wade when he's healthy, what he could do. You know what Chris Bosh can do offensively. But when you have the confidence that you can score on the Heat anytime you want to, where this team that's accustomed to averaging your ranking anywhere from 2nd to 5th in the league defensively now ranks 18th, okay, in terms of field goal percentage defense, you know that you're elevating the confidence of those going up against you because you're not giving off the impression that you can stop anybody. You're emboldening opponents because you're making them think they can take you. And that's not something the Heat have been known to do. So it is a concern for LeBron. It's definitely a concern for Bosh. I know it's a concern for D-Wade as well. We'll see how they respond. I'm confident they'll respond, though, because it can't get much worse for them defensively.
Okay, so Stephen A., a week ago you were not concerned at all. Now you are some concerned.
Yes.
Let's flip it. Let's take it up a level to panic scale. If I say on a panic scale of 1 to 10, how high are you? Where would you go with that?
No, I wouldn't go high with that. I wouldn't associate panic because it's March. And if this were April, like the last week of the regular season, I'd be panicky. But with basically 3 weeks to a month to fix this, I'm not panicking. I wouldn't say that.
I am with you on that. I am concerned, but on a panic scale, I'd be at a 0. I agree with your point, and I thought it was an astute basketball point that you made. What do coaches always say? We have to defend and we have to rebound. Well, we already know Miami can't rebound. They're not big enough to consistently out-rebound opponents. They have to do it on hustle and just want to. But when they don't defend, now you have double jeopardy and you have these doldrums that they're in right now. Clearly, I do not like this team today as much as I liked it 1 year ago today. I'm going to give it a pass for only one reason. Right now, and you brought this up with Kentucky in our opening block, you said Kentucky needs to get up for an opponent. They have to be afraid of an opponent. They have to take it up. They can't play down to the level of the competition. Well, who is putting the heat on the Heat right now in the East? I don't see anybody unless you want to make a new case for the Brooklyn Nets, and I'm not ready to do that. Indiana is going more south than north. So I don't think Miami feels challenged by Indiana at this moment. And by the way, they do visit Indiana, as you well know, this Wednesday night. But do you think that Indiana feels pressed or pushed by the Pacers right now? The Heat do? I don't think so.
Well, that's because the Indiana Pacers have had their own struggles. And that's something else we need. That's something else we need to talk about in the days to come because Paul George is a star in this league. Great, I mean, I just love the whole team. They're incredibly selfless. And they're good and they're talented and they defend, no doubt. But Paul George has had a couple of games this year, over the last couple of weeks, I might add, where I'm just looking at him and I'm saying he looks like he's got something else on his mind. He just doesn't look to be here. He doesn't seem focused. He doesn't seem. I mean, that wasn't the case with him against the Knicks last week, but I'm just looking at him, and I expected more. Actually, to some degree, it was the case against the Knicks because he got thoroughly outplayed by Carmelo Anthony. I expect more from Paul George. I'm not seeing it, and as a result, you're going to need a star to step up and beat the Miami Heat if you're coming out of the East instead of them. And I don't see that, which is why there's no reason to panic.
I agree. I said before the year, Paul George is going to have to take it up to superstar level. I do not see that yet. He has the potential to, not seeing it yet. So now, Stephen A., I saw the Heat take it up to championship caliber level when they visited Oklahoma City on the night Westbrook returned. You and I both agreed, wow, that was basically a mismatch. That was over in the first 5 minutes of the game. So we know they are still capable. But now that Dwayne Wade is back into playing every couple of nights or every other night, whatever it boils down to, we saw LeBron hit an MVP crescendo with 61 night. And then, I'm sorry, I saw him hit the wall psychologically and physically. I thought he needed a little bit of a rest because he hasn't regained that MVP level at all since the 61 night. So I think it's the three-peat blues here. I think it's hard for a team to stay at that high of a level for this long.